Hey everybody and welcome to Adventures with Peps. We're back with painting ABC Warriors. I'm going to yapper on, so make sure you're watching so you stay up to date with what I'm actually doing in this video. So it was primed black and then heavily dry brushed. Oh my god, great start with white scars. I'm going to kick things off with the army painter Gravelord Grey for his armor. But we are painting Ghengiz, the minor character of the Volgan forces. Ghengiz is a product of the same assembly line that built the fearsome Old Horny, the very first Volgan war robot. Ghengiz wields two energized blades capable of projecting energy bolts. He is of course a Volgan veteran. He is an associate of Vulcan, Blackblood, Mechquake, Baba Yaga, Rasputin, Gulag, Easy Steam, and Calva. So basically all the villains. He's one of the villains. He hates the ABC Warriors and anybody connected to them. He does have the skill set Harrow, which is quite interesting. That gives him the brawler skill set, but in the addition to that, he can inflict metal fatigue on a robot target, and rolled any special results on the roll to hit, he places 2 fatigue instead of 1, which is pretty good from my understanding of the rules so far. Haven't actually got through the entire rule set yet. I am doing a how-to guide, so expect that sooner rather than later. But yeah, I'm slowly learning the rules, guys. It's coming along. He is also armed with 2 blazing swords, which are a one-handed weapon. They have a short range of 8 inches, so they can shoot fire basically, +1 to hit. It's got a long range of 16, which is -1. Power 4, and it's high power. In close combat, it's 1 inch, +1 to hit, and -1 to the target's resist, which is pretty good. It's pretty good. So he does have a range threat and close combat threat. Stat wise, he's pretty average in my opinion. Move 5, shoot 3, fight 4, evade 2, resist 5, and a cool of 3. Comes in at quite a low 15 points. So he is a cheap villain, once again. One of my recent comments on the channel is I complained about the point costs of the Vulcans, because I think they're too cheap. I feel like they could have been a bit higher in points and been a bit more scary to actually make him a threat to the ABC Warriors. Someone quite rightly mentioned that they relied on overwhelming their enemies with opponents as opposed to quality of opponents. That actually makes quite a lot of sense. They would just send wave after wave of attackers. Even though there's 7 ABC Warriors, they're normally outgunned, outnumbered the entire time. Even when the villains started coming after them, like the named villains like this guy, they never attacked solo. There was always 2, 3 of them at a time. So it does make sense that they would be cheaper. But it just doesn't feel even when you got like 2 ABC Warriors facing down 8 other robots. But I guess that does make sense story-wise, and I gotta remember, it's a story-driven game. This isn't a competition one. We're not talking big war game here. We're talking mini skirmishes that are meant to retell a story. So we've missed a couple of steps whilst I was yappering away. There was Administration Grey, which I used over the Gravelord Grey to lighten it up, and then I used a slightly lighter paint. And then we're hitting it again with another light paint. I'm just trying to build up the highlights on this. I really like this model. It's a strange model. It's probably not the one that most collectors are going to pick out and say, yep, that's the model of the collection for them. But for me, it is. I love the detail on it. It's got all these edges that are just begging for dry brushing, so that's why I'm actually taking a few extra steps on this model. Normally I would just speed paint and move on with my day, but I've decided to do some dry brushing on this one, so I hope you're enjoying it so far. If you got any questions about what I did, please do reach out. I'm happy to answer them. I then load up my little tiny pointed brush with the white scars, and I'm going to pick out anything that I'm going to paint red and white that I really want to pop. So there's these little stars on the model, and then of course the eye lenses on the helmet. Very fiddly, but it's going to be worth it later when I start popping the colours down. But yeah, I don't know what it is. The model I just really like. It looks terrifying. It's slowly walking towards you with these flaming swords. It really speaks to me. It reminds me of things like Star Wars, where you see the villains for the first time and they've got a weapon that's blazing, casting an evil glow over everything. It's even like the Ring Wraiths. Villains who slowly walk towards you with a light source that is around a sword always look terrifying. Always. Prove me wrong. They always look terrifying. But yeah, I'm just working around, getting all the dry brush and making sure I get a nice bright stage here, because the contrast paints are going to love it. With that stage now drying, I grab the Flesh Tear Red. As you'll know by now, I swap in and out of my paints. I think I prefer the Army Speed paints over contrasts, but I don't have all the colours in Army Painter yet, and I plan on using up all my contrast paints before buying any new ones. So we're going to work our way through this pot of red as quick as I can, so that I can then go justify buying some more paint. Ultimately, I'm going to use this on his cloak. So I want to take my time. I'm just going to follow the edge of his body, making sure I cut it in quite neatly. I don't want this to flood into his armor plates. Spent too long doing a nice little dry brush highlighting on it. I don't want to mess this up now. So I'm just going to follow the cloak, try and stick to the folds as best as possible, and we'll see if I can keep this as neat as possible. Luckily, if there is an issue, I can fix it. I just would prefer not to. Make life a lot easier. This is a long stage because I'm trying to be neat, so let's come back in a minute. With the red now drying, it's time to do his eerie green eyes. The only paint I could think of using was the Tesseract Glow. This is one great paint by GW. I love it. It's going to take a while to replace it. Luckily, I only use a little bit at a time because it's mostly for eye lenses. So this pot of paint is going to last me a while. Now, as you could see, I slightly over flooded one lens. So I dried off the brush and went back in, and it just lifts off the paint. I'll probably go over it a little bit again with some greys just to clean that up properly once it's dry. But look at it. About now it's ready to go. You could probably stick that on the table, no one's going to complain. It's got at least 3 colours on it. It looks pretty good in my opinion. With the eye lenses drying, I grab the Aluxion Purple. We're going to start working on the swords. It's a very strange paint combo. It's purple flames with a bright blue tip. Not entirely sure the reasoning behind it. It looks cool, there's no denying that one. But yeah, I don't know why that was the colour choice. If there was a reason, and if you know, let me know. But yeah, I wonder if it was meant to look like oil, or I don't know, probably some mystical arts, chaos power instead of actually real life scenario. I'm just going to dab it on. It's a contrast paint, it's nice and easy, it's quick to do. With that on, he is looking pretty damn good. Now, there was a part of me that was tempted to say, right, let's end here. You're pretty much done. We could do glamour shots and move on with our day. But I thought I'd go an extra step for once, so I grabbed the Evil Sun's layer paint. And I'm going to highlight the cape. Can we believe this? You're seeing an extra stage here from me. So I'm going to start off with these little stars because I wanted them to pop more. They kind of blended into the darkness, and I felt like they needed to just stand out a little bit more. So I'm carefully dabbing this colour down, and then I'm going to start on the cape. I'm just going to follow the higher creases and catch a red line on them. And then I'm going to do some cross hatching, where I'm just going to make a load of stripy lines, crisscross them, and that's going to give you a texture for the cape. Now, this is a slow, awkward process that's going to take forever. So we're going to skip forward a little bit, and I'll catch you soon. With the red drying, I now decided to highlight the purple flames. In the photographs of the model, it's a bright blue tip to the flames. So that's what we're going with. We are using Telecus Blue. It's named after that high elf, the sorcerer. So I just got a little bit of my brush and I'm heavily wiping over the flames. There's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I'm just hitting the flames, making sure it doesn't go into the recesses, and it's just a fake dry brush. There we go. As you can see, that is a pretty damn solid effect. I'm really happy with the model. Just do a few more wisps of the flames, try and get it focused with my camera. Yeah, as you can see, I'm just dragging my brush over. It's not a real dry brush, it's an overbrush, I guess. It's what you could call it if you're fancy. But yeah, there you go. I'm really happy with the result I'm getting. We'll do some glamour shots, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you garnered anything useful from this episode, please consider dropping a like, a subscribe. If you're still listening to my voice, I do truly appreciate it. I'm trying to get better at these voiceovers. And so every video, I'm hoping I'm improving slightly. If you are still here, drop a microphone into the comments and I'll pin you to the top of the chat. As always, cheers for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.